And I mean, you did get some nice moves on cross, Ubro, right? You got a nice move on Ubro, got a nice move on I think Battles is another Chinese name to start taking over midday. Again, I wouldn't have even have had this on my watch list seeing this action over here, but this is how Chinese name works, right? And for those of you guys who have been here long enough, you guys have seen me say this multiple times that when Chinese names have news, right, they actually do really, really well. Sorry, when the Chinese names don't have news, they don't do as well. But when Chinese names have news, okay, then they do really, really good. And this is exactly what you're seeing right now, right? With the past 2 days, the one that started everything yesterday was HWH, right? Even XEG right now is Chinese, by the way. You can see that, right? So you can see that there's a clear pattern being shown across the board right now. Of course, AIHS was today's runner, right? As you guys can see, insane move this morning. It only started running this morning, I think, right? But you guys can see that there's a clear pattern, a trend, right? There's a trend being formed right now. So what started the trend? I think this is one thing that's very important, right? What started the trend over here? All right, the first thing that started the trend over here is going to be the IHS, sorry, HWH. When did this trend start? When did this HWH trend start? It started on Monday, right? It started on Monday. Sorry, it started on Tuesday, which is the first day of the week, which is also the first day of the month. Okay, now I've always said this, right? Chinese names without news, they move nice. Chinese names with news, generally they don't move as well. If you don't believe me, I don't really have a lot of proof to show you guys, right? But we'll take one of those, some of these more recent parabolic Chinese runner. I think it was, what was the one? Anyone can help me out? I forgot the name for this. What was the Chinese name that recently went crazy? No. SOGP had earnings news. It wasn't that. No. It wasn't Y. It wasn't Y. Why it I wouldn't even consider Y as a Chinese name that pop, right? This is nothing. No. It's not. IPDN is not Chinese. Fuck. No. It happened most recently, like a couple of months ago. It ran from like 60 cents to $1,000 in multiple days. I think there should be, yeah, right. So RGC. Okay, so this is a Chinese name over here, right? So you know how you guys can know, right? It's very simple. Just do a quick check on Finviz. It should show you, okay, so Hong Kong, right? Same stuff. So if we look at this chart over here for RGC, right? Now this is post-split adjusted already, right? This is post-split adjusted already. 1 second. This is post-split adjusted already. So you can see that. But let me show you what I'm actually talking about, right? So post-split adjusted price looks like this, right? So this is a 1 for 38 reverse split. So basically, if you multiply everything by 38 times 38 times, this high over here is actually hold on 1 second. This high over here is actually $3,176. Right? And then of course this thing went from 31 cent, which is again, if you multiply it by 38 times, okay, it's $11. So this stock basically went from $11 to 3,000 something. Post-split adjusted price, all right, percentage wise, it's gonna be the same. It went from 30 cents to $83 in a couple of weeks. Did this thing have news? Not one news was even over here. There was no news over here at all. Right? Now there are other names that provide kind of similar moves. HKD is very well known, right? This ticker went from 50 to 385. I think this is again post-split adjusted prices. There's like, no, this thing went a lot higher. Okay, sorry, yeah, over here. Sorry about that. It went from IPO price $13 and it went to $2,000 in 2 weeks. Was there news over here? No. There was another one which is there is no, by the way, this move over here is organic, right? There was no reverse split for this. There was no reverse split for HKD ever. I don't think so. I don't think there was. So yeah. There was a lot of offering, I think, but no reverse split, from what I can remember. but this is the price that it would actually went to. This other one's ATXG. Now it says 656 over here, but the price on this actually went from $20 to $1,000 in one day. Was there news on this? No. All these companies that I'm talking about right now, okay, they're all Chinese. All right, they're all Chinese stocks. All right, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, they're all Chinese stocks, right? HKD you can see as well. This is going to be Chinese too. Now look. So this is one thing to kind of keep in mind as well. Now sometimes the source, the source that you say can be correct. I mean, can be wrong, right? Now this thing says France, and like, oh my god, PPT is wrong, and so on and so forth. Okay, hold on. So all you gotta do is just do a quick check on their company. All right, you go over to their website. Okay, you go over to if you can find their I would say the team, right? The management, stuff like that, then that would be great, right? These are what's going to help you out with a lot of, to know whether that ticker is actually a Chinese stock or not. Now, so far over here, I can't really see, the About Us, the Meet the Team website, all that. So it's going to be tough to know if this is going to be, if this is actually a Chinese stock. All right. But another thing you can do a quick check is just to, just do a quick check on the CEO. I mean, you can know for sure this guy is definitely not French, right? This guy is definitely not French, right? This guy is Chinese as fuck. Okay. And you can see the president over here, right? This guy's Chinese as fuck. Okay. Parent, the owners of AMTD idea. I think all these are Chinese as well, right? AMTD group. You can see. I mean, this is Chinese, right? This is definitely Chinese. So we can. Is there any? I don't see any. I don't see any group that they are trying to. They don't. Let me see over here. Maybe you can see find some. Is it the same one? Yeah, it's the same one. There isn't any sort of like meet the team and so on and so forth. So it's very hard for you to kind of know. But just do a quick check on the president, the CEO, right? And you should more or less know if that ticker is actually Chinese or not. Even though this thing says France, might be a little bit confusing. All right, but the president is Chinese, which is strange. Okay. And another one, let me show you guys another example, right? Another one over here is going to be CTNT, right? Now it says over here, USA, right? But if you just do a quick check again, yeah, now, of course, when this is your first time trading the stock market, right? You probably wouldn't know. You do a quick check, you probably would just know that this thing is not Chinese. You would think that this is USA, but this is Chinese. I've traded this before, so based on experience, I know this is Chinese. As you can see, all Chinese names have this insane move to the upside, followed by a strong liquidation move to the downside. IXG is I mean, this is the same. Look at this. This is the one that's running right now, a Chinese name, right? This used to be 1,002, then right now it's 109. I don't, this is never going to go back. So again, you might think this is Chinese, right? It's not. Okay, go over to the website, go over to Google, whatever, sorry, type the whole thing out, and you can just see, right? Headquarters, Irvine, California, United States. A little sus, okay? Go find your website if they have any. So I can see one over here. And this is where let's see if we can find, right, their meet the team stuff. So over here, you can't really find the meet the team as well. So it's a little difficult, right? Some of these plays might be a little bit ambiguous, right? So it's very difficult to find, but you just do a quick check, okay? You can see where the parent organization is, all right? Is there any website? There isn't. Then just go to do a quick check on the CEO, and you can see, does this look like an English name to you guys? Right, Huan Liu. This guy is Chinese as hell. Okay. All right, this guy, maybe it's not this guy, maybe it's another guy, but this guy is Chinese as hell. Okay, also known as Tony Liu. So this is how you can find out whether that ticker is Chinese or not. Okay, so don't get misled. There will be some tickers where you might think it's USA, but it's not. Okay, but back to the topic at hand. Okay, HWH was the one to start the entire theme of the market. Now, one of you guys was asking me, does it mean that Chinese names are Chinese? Okay, Chinese names doesn't mean that we have to avoid. The answer is no, right? Chinese names without news always move very, very nice. Chinese names with news, they don't move as well. You might get some anomalies, some instances, some small chance that the Chinese name without news actually goes crazy. Again, as I always mention, you can never get a 100%. You can never get a 100% win, right? You can never be 100% right on anything, right? I could be 100. I could be wrong on this, but I'm never 100% wrong, right? There's always that anomaly, that small chance that it might go against what you know, and that's one of the beauty for trading as well. So Chinese names without news works best. Chinese names with news, not like the Congo. SOGP had news, right? SOGP had earnings news, share buyback. It still made pretty nice moves, and even right now, it's still continuing to make nice moves. All right, see, crazy. I think this is also, of course, with the help that Chinese algorithms are hitting. So this thing's actually continuing as well. So this is pretty nice, right? But the initial move where it went from 320 to $16 in the day was because this ticker had is Chinese, but also had news. So it belongs to that 20% chance that Chinese team actually does well. But generally speaking, the ones without news are the ones that actually go crazy. Again, case in point, HKD, RGC, and ATXG. Does it mean that's a red flag? It's not. Okay, as day traders, our job is to look for levels, and we trade it regardless of what it tells us. Right? We don't care. I mean, we gotta understand that, okay, if this stock starts liquidating or Chinese thing starts dropping, then I have to get out instead of holding on to it. I know a lot of people are holding on to HKD at $60, $100 per share, and they have not sold, thinking that this is gonna go back again. Right? You should never ever put yourself in this position. Whenever we trade a Chinese stock, if it starts breaking down like this, you make sure you cut. Maybe this trade over here might not have worked out today. If it breaks under 360, I would have cut it because there's a high chance this thing would have went to 180, 190, or even 90 cents of $1. As you can see from all the Chinese names over here. And don't forget, this thing used to be $17 as well. Right? Not that one of the crazier Chinese things that we've seen, but if you look at the pattern, oh, sorry, my bad. 891. So this thing ain't no different, right? This thing ain't no different. Okay, but again, Chinese things are bad, right? Chinese things are bad. There's a lot of negative sentiment to it. But what do I always tell you guys, right? When you day trade, okay, when you're day trading, your main focus in the market is just identify pattern and trend, and that's all you gotta do, right? You do not need, right? You do not need to even, okay, do research on the company to see if this is good or not, right? So this is good, for those of you guys who are lazy to do your DD and stuff, right? You don't really have to do a lot of DD. All you have to do is look at the levels on the chart, understand the theme of the market, and you'll be able to find the right tickers to trade. Now you can see over here we have a set of technical analysis, right? And that's great and all. But going to the morning today, there were a lot of other tickers that was moving as well, right? One of them was STI, right? One of them was STI as well, right? One of them STI. And you can see that this thing also had, right, some form of technical analysis over here, right? This thing also had some form of technical analysis over here. So with that being said, does it mean that, so you see, this is why, I keep putting the emphasis on all these recaps, right? I put the emphasis on sharing with you guys why I picked the stock and not why I picked the stock, not on technical standpoint, but on a understanding the market standpoint. Because every single ticker with candlesticks and price action will always give you some sort of technical analysis you can derive and draw upon, right? What was another runner this morning besides STI? Was there anything? Was there BTBD, right? BTBD was another one as well, potentially, right? BTBD was another one as well that had some nice uptrend, as you guys can see. Okay, made a pretty nice move over here. You can see there's price action on this, right? But okay, does it fit the theme of the market? And that is something that technical analysis cannot help you, right? That's something that technical analysis cannot help you. Okay, so let's get a little bit interactive right now. What was the biggest runner in the market yesterday? What was the biggest runner in the market yesterday? It was HWH, right? I'm pretty sure all of us can agree on this. This was the biggest runner on the market yesterday. Okay, now if we look at this over here, we understand what the sticker is. The sticker is a Chinese name. Is there news over here? There isn't, right? There isn't any news over here. So with that being said, today, when you have your lineup of tickers to watch, and there is one ticker that is Chinese without any sort of news, don't you guys think you should pay more attention to this? It's the same, right? If the market doesn't change, okay, of course, we wouldn't know if the market's going to change, something else to run. We can only make our decision based on what happened yesterday, right? We cannot know what's going to happen in the future because, I mean, nobody is going to be able to know that, right? But as of what happened yesterday, I can safely say that I'm going to be putting my focus on a Chinese name because that was the biggest runner yesterday. This thing has the same vibes. Chinese name, no news here, right? And was running hard. Now, if you guys realize yesterday, we also had a couple of runners too. But yeah, besides HWH, we had UUU, right? What else? What other names do we have? What other names do we have as well? What other names do we have that was running as well that was not a Chinese name in terms of momentum? Do you guys remember? Is there anything? We have SSKN, we have SHFS, we have Nuke, right? We have all these runners, but did they sustain EOD? No. Right, they made the move. They did make the moves, yes, but did they sustain? No. Why? Because HWH got all the volume. So this is the same thing today, right? We have a lot lesser options to watch, okay? But you see, you had tickers like IPDN going up, you had tickers like BTBD going up, but ultimately, the ticker that actually holds strength, right? Okay, that actually goes crazy was AIHS, which is the same structure as yesterday, right? Not even talking about stocks anymore, but the same structure as yesterday, right? It's the exact same structure as yesterday, if you guys realize. Okay, all right. So there's that, right? There's that. Okay. So that's the reason why I focus on AIHS today, right? So now that we have understand why we pick AIHS, now let's dive right into the technical details. So now first off, AIHS had a very nice move this morning. Okay, I wasn't around. Again, I don't really trade I mean, it was a nice move. Good to know, put them to watch this. Price went down. Now over here, if you can see, there's a gray box over here, right? Now this is my daily price action separation zone. Okay, so how do I derive this? I go over to daily chart. You can see there's a lot of levels over here. And if you guys look at this one entire area where price separates a lot, right? It's this. Does it sync with you guys? Does this look correct? Right? If I could just say if I would draw a line over here, all right, if I would draw a line across over here, right, I could also say that whenever a price is above this line, it trades above here. Whenever a price is below this line, all right, it trades below here. Right, so this over here, 330, okay, is my price action separation level. Now, if I feel like, this might be a Chinese name, so it might be a little choppy, so that's why I can use a zone, right? Just to kind of see how far a price may go down. So what you can see over here in the morning was that price on price was suspecting this level a lot. All right, price was suspecting this 330 level a lot. Do you guys agree? Yes or no? Does it make sense? Did I derive this level from the 1 minute chart? No, I derived this from the daily chart, right? I derived this from the daily chart. Okay, so and coincidentally on the 1 minute chart, it resonates with my thesis. And remember, this is after whatever happened with HWH yesterday as well. Okay, so seeing this over here tells me that price, all right, seeing this over here tells me that price is basing above the separation zone over here. So as per my thesis, if price stays above this line, it unlocks this set of levels. If price stays below this line, it unlocks this set of levels. Now, if I'm a long trader, I don't really care. I don't want the price to stay below 330, right? So let me ask you guys this. Was price staying above 330 or below 330? for this entire 2 hours of consolidation, 1 hour plus, was priced above 330 or below 330? It's above 330, right? So if it's above 330, then does it unlock the set of levels? It should, right? Because that is, what the pattern is telling us, right? So it could go to as high as here. It could go to as high as here. It could even go to as high as here. How high it goes, nobody will ever know. All right, that's one thing's for sure. Okay, but it unlocks the potential as long as price stays below 330. Okay, so how you guys could have traded this? Now, I wanted to alert this over here, but this is way too quick, right? This is way too quick. Personally, for me, I was in over here at 360s in the morning, but this one was way too quick for me to alert for you guys. So I had to give you guys some sort of another, I would say, structure level breakout. I think it was 4 or 5, right? 4 or 5 breakout. Why 4 or 5? Okay, let me see. Sorry, I have to draw a lot. Well, technically it's $4, right? It's basically the structure breakout over here, right? Oh, this is 4 or 3, right? So for me, it was a 4 or 5 breakout, okay? But one of the thing is, after this 4 or 5 breakout, right, we also don't forget, right? We also have a strong rejection point, right? We have a strong rejection point in pre-market. Do you guys see this? We have a strong rejection point in pre-market where the price was struggling to break out from. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's very picture perfect over here. I can adjust it down like that. Yeah, look. So this could be our first trim spot, right? But I did tell you guys, what did I say? Play around dips, right? Because it's Chinese. I know it might be a little bit choppy. So you guys want to play around dips and stuff. All right, 4 or 5 break scalp. Stop loss on 460, play around dips. 420 plus keys is super key to break for more, right? And then once you clear that 420 plus about 425 or 5 cents off, doesn't matter. I mean, look, it's the same playbook as HWH. If this thing happens in the last week's market, it probably wouldn't have done that, right? This only had the potential to do this today. Probably, again, I'm never 100% sure, right? But probably because of what HWH did yesterday. So everyone wants a piece of this, pie. And what's to even say, right? This is not only just we also had the downtrend breakout going to open. I mean, this is as perfect as you're gonna get. I mean, this is a super textbook setup right here. Look, I mean, do you just see how nice this chart is? Right, this is as super textbook as you're gonna get over here. Look at this. Very nice. All right? You don't need, nothing to do with Fibonacci, just levels you draw on the daily chart. Very simple, nothing complicated, just drawn lines. That's it. Yeah. All right. So you can see, very simple. And of course, once you're in over here, as I always say, if the breakout's good and stuff, right 21-minute trend line until it breaks down. You can see this thing when it breaks down the 21-minute trend line. But at this point, for us, it doesn't really matter anymore. But you can see this thing start to break down a little bit. It didn't really sustain as well as HWH because remember, the sympathy play will never be as strong as the original play, right? Because sympathies, once they start rinsing out, once more tickers starts finding out about this, the focus is distributed, right? So you had a midday on the BAOS, but you see this also didn't hold, right? So because the focus is being distributed, that could not have happened yesterday with HWH because HWH was the one that set the tone for the market. And then people start to realize that, and you get pumpers on X, like, hey guys, this is Chinese as well, same as blah blah blah. It could go crazy. Sometimes it actually does go, sometimes it just pump. But yeah. All right, so still a nice move, right? Never lost a 21-minute trend line. It's the same thing for STI this morning. For those of you guys who traded the 4 a.m. stuff with me, right? Once we broke up from 450 over here. Okay. Now one of you guys was asking me, right? If the breakout is over 450, would you still have your stops under 420 or 450? Now, it's the same thing. Okay, because remember, I'm giving you guys the levels before the market even opened. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how the price action is gonna be like. Right, so I just have to give you guys how it's gonna be like, right? I don't know what's gonna happen. And you guys were asking me if this is such a strong breakout. I mean, this is a super strong breakout, right? 4-1. Will you still have your stops under 420? No, right? Because my entries will be around 470s. Because again, I could take it before the candle close, right? Because it's gonna be above 450 anyway. And my stop loss is going to be under 415 cents. And on this pop, obviously a trim, of course. And then if we have the luxury to ride the 20 EMA trend line, ride it. Because once it breaks down, things start to become choppy. If not, and then it starts to form a new setup, right? But at this point, like I said, even if it breaks down from the 20 minute trend line, we have the luxury to hold this because price is still staying above VWAP, which is where it's bounced up before. So it's not just one dimensional. You gotta look at multiple lines over here. But this is a very beautiful way to start the day. And then another big win on AIH as well to start the day. I mean, to end the day, right? So one for those guys who trade pre-market and another one for those guys who cannot trade pre-market but ready for market open. And maybe you can have something else tomorrow. I would say that so far, with the fact that this, it's been a very, very short week and start of the month, I'm liking the action so far. Hopefully it keeps up. Again, I'm not going to take it for granted though. Yeah. Okay, so very simple. All right, nothing too complicated over here. Is a Chinese theme still in play? I mean, it could be, right? It could be. I mean, you can see XG, right? What I think there was another one that was running this. Let me see, BRIA. I mean, it could be, but it could be saturated too. Don't forget about that, right? It could be saturated too, right? It could be very, very saturated too. Okay, it might dilute or maybe it might switch off from another Chinese name on tomorrow. Very hard to say. You'll only know when it actually happens. Okay, but I like BRIA a lot. I think BRIA and XHG both have super big potential. I think the special cash dividend news has been pretty good so far, right? It's not just Chinese. SOGP had that special cash dividend news as well, right? I think coincidentally this is Chinese too. That's why it's performing very well. But it also had that factor of the special cash dividend news. What are some of the tickers recently that had special cash dividend news too? Do you remember? Yeah, I'll get to the supply zone in a bit. But do you guys remember? What is one ticker that recently had special cash dividend news too? Yep, you're right. NBY. NBY, right? And we traded this, the other day. I mean, I'm very surprised to see this at fucking 292. This was what? This was like 50 cents last week. It's 270 right now. Very strong. Very, very strong. Right? And then UU, of course, is another one, but again, not. But you can see this is this breaking down? It's not. It's actually holding up. This thing is actually holding up. Right? So we have a lot of very interesting setup, right? The theme might be changing into this dividend type of news. And BRIA is a super, super thin name. We just look at the daily average volume over here. Nobody ever touched this bullshit. That's why when the news dropped, even only on 5,000 shares, this thing went from 2.58 to 388. And then on 19,000 shares go from 390 all the way up to 591. Super volatile, super choppy, very spready, okay? Because it's not used to having this much amount of volume into this stock over here. All right, but yeah, I think we might, this might be two of the themes. It might be this, it might be this, it might be Chinese name again, right? But that's at least what I can say for now. Okay, yeah, but man, this one has huge explosive moves over here potentially. Oh my god, this one could potentially explode up, for real. We're all-time highs too. When we have these all levels. How are you finding these plays? Are you using a scanner? The scanner is all provided inside the trading chat, by the way. The scanner is all inside the trading chat, right? And you can see right now, you're asking how do I find these plays, right? There, it's shouting you guys over here. We're using this. So you don't have to buy a volume scanner, you can just use this. Okay, I like this. I like BIRA. It's just BRIA. I just need maybe 4 a.m. tomorrow. We'll see. It's a little too high for me right now. So of course this thing's fucking 250 over here. We'll see how it goes. All right, ain't no, I'm okay. I'm very happy with today. Mm, not really. I mean, you could bounce off the 21 EMA for sure, right? This is where the 21 EMA is trending. Right, so any if you want to trade it quickly, you can find any dips near this blue line, light blue line over here for bounces until it breaks down. But you don't really have a structure over here that it really is just riding trend. And of course trend will hold up until it doesn't. So anything can happen over here. So that's why I wanted to just relax a little bit and wait. Maybe X is cheap. Oh, 4 a.m. has been talked recently, right? Maybe these tickers over here make moves tomorrow at 4 a.m. instead of right now. So I'll just wait for tomorrow instead. It's all good. Oh, there's another one too, right? MWG. This is a Chinese thing that's popping a little bit in pre-market. I mean, after hours right now, right? You see, it's not the strongest amount of volume, but the idea is there. And this is Chinese too. So it's very, very mixed, right? It's a mix of special cash dividend and Chinese. And when things become saturated, it becomes more confusing. It's always easier at the first 2 days, first 3 days and stuff. After that, things, people catch on, algorithm catch on, then you have all these kind of random fillers coming in and stuff like that. Just remember back then when we had the crypto run on SBAT and BMNR, suddenly every other company that is healthcare related and not even Bitcoin related started dropping treasury news. And it becomes super saturated and then things just pop, but they don't sustain. Okay, all right. So yeah, any so one final question from this Alan, right? So how do I get the daily supply zone for NUKK? So yesterday we traded this over here. This gray box is my daily supply zone. So we broke through that, right? It's basically the green candle before that huge drastic downside move. So this one, right? I took the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick. That's my daily supply zone. And also it's a pretty nice price action separation zone as well, as you can see. So yeah. So it's the green candle, right, before that downside move. If I look for a demand zone, it'll be the red candle before the upside move. Because there has to be some consolidation before a huge drastic move to the upside. So supply is different because supply is where shares are being rinsed out, there's no bias, and then price goes down. So you want to see a downside move, that's it. Demand is where buys are accumulating, and then there's an upside move, right? So yeah, that's how it works. Okay, if not any final questions, been holding you guys for too long right now. Did you go over what you meant to say? So basically, SHFS, yesterday I gave you guys the alert to buy 390s to 370 dips. Right. It's just basically as the name suggests, right? I'm in at 390s, it dips down to like 380, I'll take some, it dips down to 370, I'll grab some. If it pops, I sell. That's basically how the name suggests. If you don't plan to take dips and you want to add full size over here, then you add full size over here and you don't buy dips. If you plan to buy dips, generally for me, I think you start at least 60, 70%, or even sometimes maybe even 50%, right? And I'll build around dips and then if it sells, if it pops, then I sell. I mean, you will never know it's safe to get in. You will never know, right? All these knives might. I mean, of course, you wait for all these pullbacks to key levels, form wicks, and buyers coming in. You can grab these dips over here. Okay, but over here you can never know what's gonna happen next, right? You can never know what's gonna happen next. So just respect the plan you're given. That's all. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Thursday tomorrow, right? So 2 more days and then the weekends, but let's fucking do this. All right, cheers, guys. Bye.